What is up, everybody? Boostown GB here, coming at you, and today we're going to be taking this Dakota Sport, throwing some turbo shit on it. You have the right engine for it, the 2.5 liter, but it has some problems. As you can see, it runs like crapo. So, first thing to do is yank the valve cover off, and what I discovered was, where'd you go? There's just a missing rocker. Now, if you were really smart, you would have noticed that it's right here. So it actually was still in the engine. It was just over there like that, just kind of hanging out. So, I don't know how it came out. I'm guessing the owner over-revved it somehow, but I would think this has a rev limiter and that doesn't happen. But looking at these, I have another cylinder head here, and you take the cam off and they just pop off. So I'm wondering if this is like the Nissan SR20, where you give it any RPM and these things just decide to evacuate as soon as possible. Which I know with the SR20 there's an upgrade kit for the rocker arms so they don't fly off. I don't know if that's the same case with these. This was the original one that was still in the engine. The only reason I'm swapping it out is because this roll pin here is a little loose. More loose than all the other ones. So, if this is like something failed in this, I'd rather just not deal with it. So, we're going to replace it. As you can see, we have a factory turbo manifold, an array of factory turbo parts, including two Mitsubishi turbos, TE04H turbos to be exact. Got an intercooled radiator. Obviously we have a cam here. I don't know if there's any difference between a turbo cam and a natural cam. It has the same serial number on it, 7849, compared to the one that's in the truck now. But this one says L-1, the one in the truck says L-5. I don't know if there's a difference here. I'm not too well versed with these particular engines. I'm more into the 4G series stuff. These are kind of weird. But I guess we'll figure it out as we go along. I don't know how I'm going to get the rocker back in without taking the cam off. Alright, so I think I figured out what I'm going to do. I decided to pull the lifter out and put it in the vise, push all the oil out so I could push it down. When you start it, the oil will just pump back up into it, so it should be fine. It might clack for a second, but I think we'll be good. And just kind of wedge it in over there on the side here. And we're gonna just hammer it back in. I think that went on. It's this one here. That seems right. Turn the engine. Oh, I got the camera jammed in the belt right now, so I can't turn the engine over. Then we can bolt the shit back on and see if it'll run better. Yeah! Nice! Oh, we have more crap unbolted here. Decided to take all the front cover stuff off. Even took the balancer or the pulley off. Because there was a bunch of shit jammed down in between when I looked in there. And, it's just a bunch of, like, foam. I also took that front wheel drive motor mount off. Now that's the bracket, because these engines were also in front wheel drive vehicles. This thing more specifically, it's a pretty decent piece of weight, so I don't think I need it for the 4-cylinder, honestly. And just a bracket that does fuck all. Alright folks, it's the next day. I did a bunch of research. I knew Chrysler was awful, but I didn't realize they were this fucking awful. The cylinder head is junk. The engine may not be junk. It did run pretty good once I got the rocker arm reinstalled. It seemed to smooth out. I was dumping way too much fuel down the intake. It was actually flooded. What I then discovered when I looked down in here, I noticed the umbrella seal was pushed all the way up to the retainer. Well, that's a problem because what I noticed was down in the seat, there was no valve guide. It was gone. Where the fuck did the valve guide go? Well, it's actually down in here. It walked halfway down the valve guide hole, and it's almost like, I think it's stuck on where the valve starts to make its trumpet little thing. I think it wedged itself right at the base. The reason that the rocker came out, I think, is because when it pushed down, the guide got stuck. Held the valve open. Hopefully the piston isn't munched. It might have a nice ring around it. But I don't think it's like bent or anything either, because it would have still blown out the intake or something, or it wouldn't have sounded so smooth when I did get it running. So the head's junk. Unless you get really fancy, cross drill all the way to the seat, find a way to pull it back up, and then put a screw and lock it in. We're not doing that. I have, obviously, another cylinder head that is fine. We're just going to put the new head on it and hope that one doesn't do the same thing. Chrysler's had this valve drop issue for fucking eons. They still have this problem. So Chrysler is dog doo. So there's a few options. I mean, it's the obvious, just replace the cylinder head. I'm going to go a little step further and just pull the whole engine out. I'm not going to do this today. I think that's it for this video, or at least this part of the video. There's probably going to be a few more. So a couple of other things. I was messing with the turbos here. The bearings are both gone, both turbos. I have this TD04 here. It seems good, but the wastegate is welded shut, so I'm going to have to put an external gate, which the manifold does not have, but I have this one. This is a fucking unit. This thing is a unit! Bam. Just comparing next to a TD04 size, it is visually larger. The exhaust is absolutely massive for it. This is a Toyota CT26. I think this came off of a forklift. It's got water cool. The oil comes in from the bottom, so it's like a Power Stroke turbo. I think those are Garrett's. It's like a Garrett. Oil from the bottom, so I'm going to have to make a fancy flange here because I don't have it. And the wastegate is really tight compared to the one that came off the stock turbo. So I'm going to guess that it's going to be like 20 pounds boost. And that thing is an absolute unit. The bearings are a little loose, but I think they're okay. I really want to try that turbo because I think if I do this right, we can make 300 easy with this turbo. 300 may sound like a big number, but not if we do it right, folks. I also gotta wait for a new timing belt, a new tensioner idler thing. So, I guess in the meantime, we'll just bolt some of this shit back together. And we'll finish the Malibu up, because I want to finish that. I have not touched that car like I said I was going to.